Hello everyone, this is Ronnie. We're answering an important question today in this video. The question is, how do you get enough calories on a raw vegan diet? So a few people on the last video I made, some people were asking that question, how do they get enough calories, and to talk about that. And I'll be honest with you, that was something that I definitely struggled with when I started off with a raw vegan diet, and had never really, obviously in my life, never thought about calories. I'd always been slim, I'd never put on weight, so I never really thought about how much I ate or whatever. So, and I don't know if food was that important to me or that big a deal in that way. Like, I didn't think about it like that in terms of the energy in food or anything like that. I didn't really have any knowledge about it, no connection. So when I came to this lifestyle, I was approached it in the same way at first. So I just just thought, well, I'll eat raw food, and I didn't have any idea what that really meant. And so I just ate stuff that was raw and tried to find stuff that was raw. And then I started to learn more about actually how to do it. And at first I was learning from people and thinking, really, do I need to eat that much? Because that's what I thought seemed like a lot of volume of food. And over the years experimenting with it, I gradually realised that you do have to eat more volume of food, and there's no way around that really. And then I realised that and eventually got used to that, and I also, with experimenting on and off, I've made so many mistakes with not eating enough calories a lot of the time. And when I first went raw, I lost a lot of weight. I didn't really track it, but probably like 2 stone, and I was already kind of slim, so I don't know, I went down to maybe 10.5 stone or something, and that was kind of my lowest weight. And I'm not there anymore, but but now I would say I lost some weight recently. Now since Aubrey left, actually I put a little weight on, so I'm not sure why that is, but so I'm working to get that off. But eating enough. So the important thing with a raw food diet is getting enough calories. It's not about the volume of food that you eat, or how much you eat, or how often you eat, or anything like that, or how much nutrition is in the food, or how ripe the food is. It's not really that. It's about getting enough calories. That's the main thing that people struggle with. And when people have problems with the raw food diet, it's always like they weren't eating enough. That's what I was saying in my last video. You just listen to the symptoms and it's like, I was tired all the time, I was always hungry, I was cold. Yeah, that's under eating. That's not eating enough. That would have happened to you on any diet. The difference is, on other diets it's far easier to eat an excess of calories, because raw food's very satisfying. So, but you might think, well, this is a natural diet, why I have to do it? But we're not in a natural community, natural surrounding, natural environment. We have jobs to do. Like, who had a job a million years ago? You didn't have a job. You've got activities. You've got your, exercise. You've got training that you're doing, and education you're doing. You're watching YouTube. You're out doing a lot of things. You're driving your kids around and all that stuff. It's not the same environment as being in the Garden of Eden, where the food is basically around you, and what you do all day is you try and get food, you avoid predators, you socialise, kind of a low stress lifestyle apart from the predators, but yeah, there wouldn't have been a great deal else to do, you know what I mean? Like, so eating was a big part of the day, and everyone was eating together. And if everyone's eating fruit together, then everyone eats more fruit together, really. So we've been trained in the idea we eat less, we eat small amounts, we eat small meals 3 times a day or whatever, and it wouldn't really have been like that. Anyhow, so the average human being needs somewhere in the region of 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day. A calorie is a unit of energy that we apply to food, and it technically it's the amount of energy required. Calorie means heat. It's the amount of energy required to heat a kilogram of water by 1 degree. That's technically what it is. And we use that to measure the energy value of food for animals. So animals have to take in, like us, we have to take in organic matter outside of ourselves for our nutrition, for all the different micronutrients and the macronutrients, but also for calories, which food energy, which is then combined with oxygen for the respiration process in our cells to make our energy. That's basically what it is, okay? So it's kind of a simple process. It's what every single animal on the planet does. We're not plants. We can't make our nutrition from the sunlight and from the soil. We're animals. We move independently and we go and eat stuff that's already got that organic structure to it. So we have to eat plants because they make nutrition. And if you're a carnivore, you eat an animal because it's eaten plants and it's got the nutrition and it's built itself from that, right? So that's that's how it works. And we have to eat every day because we have a caloric deficit. So every day we use more energy than we create just from breathing or whatever. So we have to add more calories in. We have what's called a basal metabolic rate, which is the energy that you use just for all of the basic processes before you do any activity or anything else. So if you were just to lie in bed all day doing absolutely nothing, expending no energy, you would still have a basal metabolic rate. Your breathing, your heartbeat, your kidney function, your liver function, your digestion, your brain function, all of your cells replicating, growing, doing what they're doing, all of that stuff requires obviously fuel, and that fuel comes from food. If you're not eating enough food, you're going to start going into a deficit, and you have to start consuming your own tissue in the form of stored body fat, eventually in the form of your muscles eventually, and then eventually you would die because you wouldn't have enough you just wouldn't have enough energy to keep going. And then when you start eating your muscle tissue, and especially when you eat the muscle tissue of your heart, which is the last thing to go, then you're going to fall apart right at that point. So there's a way of calculating your basal metabolic rates called I keep on forgetting the name of this, Harris-Benedict equation. The Harris-Benedict equation takes your weight, your height, your age, it combines it with a set of numbers. You can find it online, you can find it on Wikipedia, and it'll get you your basic metabolic rate. It's actually always usually quite similar to your body weight in pounds multiplied by 10. It's quite similar to that, not exactly. So if you're 170 pounds, 1700. If you're 120 pounds, 1,200, right? Around about, it's not 100% accurate, so you can do the Harris-Benedict equation to work it out more accurately. Now, firstly, some of you might be saying, hey, I'm a raw food guy, I've read like Arnold Ehret or something, or I've read someone, and they reckon that calories don't exist and calories don't mean anything, and calories don't matter in raw food because you get so much nutrition. You can just eat leaves and there's so much nutrition. There's biophotons and there's life energy in it and all that stuff. And that's all good, but you need to realize like life energy, biophotons, all that stuff, that's different, right? You can't use that in place of calories. I personally don't believe you can do breath work and stuff in replace of calories, or look at the sun gazing. I don't think that just somehow transmits in your body into calories. I don't see how that happens. You have to take in, hydrated carbohydrates, and these other things. We also use fat, of course, fatty acids for our calories. So I don't believe in any of that. And the scientific literature is pretty clear that calories are a real thing. They really matter. They're the one thing to follow whenever weight loss experiments are done. That is the thing to track, is calories. Now, it's not exactly calories in, calories out, which is kind of common model equation of weight loss, which is just purely calories in, calories out. It does to some degree matter the type of calories that you eat. But as a principle, essentially, you have a particular amount of calories that will maintain you at your body weight depending on the activity level you do. So you've got your BMR, your basic metabolic rate, you multiply that by an activity factor, and that will give you just about roughly your approximate caloric amount. There was always kind of an idea that the raw vegan, the 80-10-10 diet was a very high calorie diet. It was a very high, like extremely high calorie, high carbohydrate diet. And that Doug Graham recommended extremely high level of calories. But that's not really true. What he recommends actually, and this is his recommendation, he recommends that people should be doing so much activity. He believes, in terms of what the 80-10-10 diet books, that for a person to truly be healthy, you need to be doing a lot of activity every day, like an intense exercise every single day to truly be healthy. And that level of activity should be around about double your basal metabolic rate, right? But I'm nowhere near that in terms of my activity. I'm nowhere near that in terms of my level of exercise. So that's a high level of intensity every day. And obviously, if you did if you did enough exercise to double your BMR, if you're on 1,500 calories a day just for your basic metabolic rate, then that would be 3,000. But that is to do with your activity level and your fitness level, okay? So, but the BMR for most people, for an office worker, is going to be multiplied by 1.2 or something like that. You multiply it by 1.2, and you'll get to around, for the average, let's say it was someone that's 1,500 calories. That's maybe not the easiest one for me to work out right now. Let's say you're a big person. You're 200 pounds. You need about 2,000 calories BMR. If you multiply that by 1.2, so that's added on 20%. Trying to do the maths here. So you go up to 2,400. So that's for someone that's not a very high level of activity, but who's quite big, 200 pounds, right? And that's to stay at the same weight. So that has to be your healthy weight. So that your activity, in terms of your exercise and stuff, if you're walking around doing an office job, it doesn't add on a lot of extra calories. It doesn't really add on a lot. So to add on a lot of calories, you have to be tremendously active. You have to be running a couple of hours a day maybe, or cycling a couple of hours a day or something, to get up to the point where you're needing 500, 600, 800 extra calories a day. That's a lot. But you can see why people that do that, your friends that are maybe runners, cyclists and all that stuff, people that can exercise for 4 hours, 5 hours, like proper cyclists and stuff that can exercise for that long, you can see why they're so slim. Like, it's a lot of extra calories to make up for the amount of activity they do. Anyway, so let's take an average, a man of around about 170 pounds, which is probably not too far off for a lot of you. And I know there's probably a lot of women watching that are smaller than that. But if you're 170 pounds, your BMR before anything is roughly 1,700 calories. These 1,700 calories, right? So what does that look like on fruit? Well, just as well, I've got a representation right here. So every single day before activity is taken into account, just to maintain your body function at an optimal level, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bananas. There's another 6 bananas, that's 12. And there's another 6 bananas, that's 18. So that's 1,800 calories. So I just want you to see it, because I think some people don't get it sometimes. That that, and that. Now, just get a picture of that, an idea of that, right? That is minimum to maintain body weight. No, that's not even minimum to maintain. That's minimum to lose weight quite rapidly. If that was all you were eating for a day and you're 170, well, if you're 170 pounds, you should hold your weight just about at that amount. As long as you're not doing anything. But if you're doing activity on top of that, then you're going to lose weight, right? So that is a realistic base level of how much to eat. That's not the whole amount. You've then got, depending on your activity level, you might have another 600 calories to make up. So how are you going to make that up? It's not going to be through salad. You know, you have a salad, it might be 100 calories, it might be 50 calories. You can't think that salad is a meal. Salad's like a little extra thing that you eat to make you feel full at the end of the day or something. It's not a big, like, I know there's a lot of people that love their greens and think they're so important and all that stuff. To me, the most important thing is you get this stuff. This is gold. I'm going to get a million comments. They're not ripe enough or whatever, but I get it. Some people want their bananas riper. I'm not telling you to eat them at this stage. I'm just saying. Now, you don't have to eat them one at a time. You don't have to eat them all at once. You find a way that's good for you. But why bananas has been the staple? Because they're easy to get. They're abundant. They're cheap. These are a little bit more expensive, I think, that I want. I want to be buying bananas by the box. And then you can really drop the cost of your diet if you do that. But anyway. So that is a basic level. And then you have to eat more fruit for the rest of it. So how else would that look? So I'll need to have more visual representations, but I just want you to see that. You know, you can't be doing this diet and think that you can eat a couple of bananas for a meal. That's not what it's all about. And the truth is that if you eat this, you will feel an impact on you that is different than anything you've ever eaten before. If you actually eat fruit in the right volume, in the correct amount of calories, it'll have such an impact on you, positive impact, that you'll want to keep on doing it. But what does it look like in other things? So let me see if I can visualize this in another way. Okay, let's say pineapples. Pineapples about 500 or 600 calories. Most people can't even eat more than one because they start to bleed or whatever. But if you've got good pineapples, then it's like 3 pineapples just for your basic metabolic rate, you know, for a 170 pound man. Packets of grapes. So these grapes you get in a box. Most grapes come in a box that are 500 grams, half a kilogram. And they're 300 calories in a box. So that's 6 of those boxes, basically, for your basic metabolic. 6 of those boxes. In the UK, you know the kind that I'm talking about, the plastic tubs. 6 of those on a daily basis. 6 on a daily basis. I know people that try to live on grapes, eating a couple of packets of grapes a day, or maybe 3. Can't do that. You can't live on 900 calories. It needs to be 6. If you want to live on those, I'm not suggesting you do, but that's why I suggest that bananas might be a better staple for you. Mangoes are more like 150 calories often, big mangoes, so they're less, maybe 10 mangoes. But now you start to see the dilemma a little bit, which is if you're going to buy that from the supermarket, then that's going to be quite a lot of expense. Bananas are a bit more affordable, so you can have other fruits maybe as more of a snack size, bananas more as your main calories. So, but that's how to get enough calories. I would advise that you eat more fruit, but you eat bananas. I don't advise that you use fat to make up those calories. You can do it, and you can do a raw food diet with a higher level of fat, but you won't feel as good really. And you want to, the real impact in terms of feeling really good comes from an abundance of sweet fruits. And I would recommend that you start off with bananas as making that up. So, thanks for watching today. I hope you got something out of the video. Other ways of getting more calories, smoothies obviously, banana ice cream. You can make all sorts of fruit ice creams and things. But you just need to learn to eat more. And if you're having a struggle with the raw food diet and you're not eating these volumes and eating these amount of calories, that is why. That's why you binge. That's why you think about other food all the time. That's why you're cold. That's why you're always hungry. That's why you're losing weight. That's why you're not feeling strong. That's why you have no motivation. That might be why you're feeling constipated. On and on and on. And it's because of not really embracing the fact you need to eat enough. You need to eat more. Okay? So, anyway, thank you for watching today. If you'd like to learn more about this stuff, you can come to the UK Fruit Fest. Go to fruitfest.co.uk/registration. You can book a call with me to talk more about it. I also have a mailing list for myself if you want to join that. I'll put a link below for that. And subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more, and share the video if you thought it was interesting. Thank you very much for watching.